Hi everybody, and welcome to Wendy's Witness. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. For most of us, that means we'll be cooking a lot of food and inviting family and friends to taste and see. The Lord is good. He has ordained times for us to gather together, feast and fellowship, and remember His goodness. So keep watching today as we prepare to partake in the process of giving thanks. If you're like me, you season everything with salt. It brings out the flavor of food so it's not dull and boring. And Jesus tells us in Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth. What an awesome analogy for believers. However, though, it is followed by a warning that we shouldn't take lightly. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. This is a vivid mental picture. When we blend in with the world by complaining, we're no use to the kingdom. Jesus wants His followers to be the salt of the earth, not salty. We should bring the salt of kindness and gratefulness with us everywhere we go. Most likely, fasting is not on the list of things to do tomorrow. Bake a turkey, yes. Make a pie, yes. But fasting, perhaps if only to make more room for the ginormous amounts of food we'll be eating later. After Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights, Matthew 4:3-4 says, the tempter came to Him and said, if you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Jesus answered, it is written, man is not to live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. When we face temptation, we must be ready to answer with the Word. This has to be in our reserves because we have eaten and are filled. When we plan the menu for Thanksgiving, there's always a discussion about all deciding what we will bring. We all have something to contribute, whether it's a special dish we've all come to expect, or a jug of tea from someone who's not into cooking. Remember last week in Divine Design, we talked about how Jesus said, feed my sheep. This is what Jesus wants us to do. Bring Him what you have. Give Him thanks for it. And He will bless it and multiply it for you so you can give to others. When the crowds flocked to Jesus, the disciples wanted to send them away so they could go get themselves some food. But Matthew 14:16, Jesus replied, they do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. Well, then they proceeded to tell Him what little they had. 5 loaves, 2 fish. What did Jesus then do? Verse 18 and 19. Bring them here to me, He said, and He directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, He gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then He gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. For us to understand the measure of gratitude we should have requires us to slow down, take time to think of all the many ways we've been blessed by God. We must have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart that's open. And that's my Thanksgiving prayer for myself, my family, and all of you, that we would taste and see. Because it's only when we realize how much we have to be thankful for that we get the right perspective, God's perspective. Well, happy Thanksgiving. God bless you. I'll see you next week. And remember, we are all witnesses.